Joe was just telling us about Neil Postman,
Yeah.
a student of Marshall McLuhan. What does he have like any like sort of condensed phrases like Marshall McLuhan does?
It doesn't have anything as sort of tidy and like r rolls off the tongue as the medium as the message and stuff. But uh, in fact, I'll look this up so I get it exact right because there's one I always think about, and I'm like, oh, he was just talking about the internet. I mean, he was talking about TV, but it just is the internet.
And
Oh, right.
it's almost like he had been privy to the idea of the internet when no one else did, and he was somehow fixated on that and like I'm commenting on this thing that no one else even knows is real.
You could believe that reading this book. You really could believe that. Right, so
Interesting.
like for instance, listen to this. Um, I think Amusing Ourselves to Death came out in like 86 or 87, I think, so like the end of the 80s. Um, Americans no longer talk to each other. They entertain each other. They do not exchange ideas. They exchange images. They do not argue with propositions. They argue with good looks, celebrities, and commercials. Right? So, I mean, that's just uh,
That was infinitesimal. That was like it's no, excuse me. That was in its infancy.
yep,
Like
yep,
all those ideas were like yes, well because it is a through line, right? It is a through line from television and mass because that was the first mass media.
hmm
Well, actually, I guess radio was, but it got codified with television because that was the first sound and image together.
yep,
Yeah, and it's just that at 1,000 RPMs
yep.
with less talent.
Oh, that's the most depressing thing about it. The technological innovation hasn't led to a sort of a recalibrating, a sort of talent and skill and stuff. It's if anything, if you feel like it's probably easier than it's ever been to become, like a talking head. So that's, I mean, that's super depressing. Oh, here, well, very quickly, here's another one. Right, this is great. When a population becomes distracted by trivia, when cultural life is redefined as a perpetual round of entertainments, when
Mm.
when serious public conversation becomes a form of baby talk, when, in short, a people become an audience and their public business a vaudeville act, then a nation finds itself at risk. Cultural death is a real, clear possibility, and what
It's
we've been,
it's reality.
we are
We're
living
up to our
it
knees in cultural corpses.
100%. It's insane.
Wait, what? Say that bit about the vaudeville again. That's
Uh,
so spot on.
right, so I'll just like when cultural life is redefined as a perpetual round of entertainments, when serious public conversation becomes a form of baby talk, when, in short, a people become an audience and their public business becomes a vaudeville act, then a nation finds itself at risk, etc., etc.
Yeah, the public business being a vaudeville act. That
Yeah,
that is now.
he nailed it. He absolutely he did not even realize then how much he nailed it.
Is he still around, or did he just like kill himself when he realized the horror?
I think he is dead, but I'm
Okay.
actually going to check that. I'm pretty sure he's dead.
Good for
Uh,
him.
well, at this point, definitely good for him.
Yeah, this is a wise move.
Oh shit! I just realized. Okay, so you're sharing these on YouTube, right?
Some of them.
Some of them. Okay. Yeah, all right. There we will have a limit on YouTube always because I refuse to use all of their stupid codified fucking dumb language.
Oh,
Uh,
they don't care unless you get big anyway. So,
Yeah.
right.
uh,
Um.
yeah, no,
Well,
it's insane.
but we're gonna get big. We're gonna be so big. We will be the message. We will be the medium and the message. Don't you
I
understand?
love the optimism.
What you're talking about kind of sounds like it feels like this guy had to be into cybernetics.
I'm pretty sure he was. I'm reasonable. Oh no, what he definitely was in fact because one of his little books, Technopoly, The Surrender of Culture to Technology. That's also a really good book and worth reading.
Ooh.
And
Hmm.
he's sort of hitting on a lot of the stuff that the first and second wave of cyberpunk writers and like cyber theorists were talking about.
Hmm.
He was quite. I mean, initially he seemed sort of optimistic, and then by the time you get to Technopoly, he's kind of pessimistic about how much we were surrendering, even in 1992, to surrendering just all different aspects of public life, public discourse, and stuff to technology. And
Yeah.
again, I would love to know what he would have thought of 2026.
Fuck.
It's amazing. A lot of those really sort of positive uh like what is the starry-eyed what is that basic word I'm forgetting on, like basically everybody that had hope at the beginning of internet and technology is like they really start to, if they're honest, they really start to turn on it.
Hmm.
The one that springs to mind is Jaron Lanier, who was like an early he was like an early VR pioneer, and just like in in the Silicon Valley and the like the beginning of all of these technologies. And he's he's written a whole bunch of books like talking about just how wrong everything's gotten.
Hmm.
I can't remember the name of shit.
I've just looked him up. I thought I didn't know him. I didn't recognize his name, but I definitely know the guy from looking at him. I'm pretty sure I've seen him in a few like documentaries or something.
Yeah, big guy with dreads, big white guy
Uh-huh.
with dreads. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Um, uh, he's got he has one book that has a really great title that is uh,
Is it 10 arguments for deleting your social media accounts right now?
it's not that one. It's something like you are not a
Oh,
uh,
I can see it here. You are not a gadget.
that's it.
Incredible.
Huh.
Yes. Yeah, you are not a gadget.
It's good to
That's
remind yourself of that.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah,
I,
that that
I I
that
say the opposite every day. Every day I look in the mirror and I'm like, you're a gadget, man.
you're a machine.
You're a sexy, sexy gadget.
That the medium is the message. It sounds strikingly similar to like this key phrase in cybernetics, the a thing is what it does.
Yep.
Huh.
Yep. It's the same spirit there, I would say.
So like you might see like some phenomenon in the media happening, and instead of looking at what it's saying at all, you just look at like the effect that it's causing.
Mm,
And you're like,
interesting.
that's what it is. It is the thing that it's doing. And it's
That's I've
fascinating because this
I,
this cybernetics movement was like fucking 40s to 50s,
Hmm.
and
I
a lot of the theory is still used like in AI development and shit.
Yep. Yep. No,
yeah,
it's
yeah. I wonder, have you guys ever heard of that? What is his name? Korbzewski, the guy, the general semantics guy. He was the guy that came up with like the map is not the territory.
oh, right,
Oh,
right,
okay.
right.
When you
Yeah,
said
he's
general semantics, I pictured a military man.
he's just got like dictionary pages on his chest, not awards or medals or anything.
We have him fill out most of the paperwork.
General Samantha.
It's a Doctor Strangelove character.
Yeah.
Yeah.
General
Oh,
semantics.
wow. Yeah, that does sound like he denies women his precious bodily fluids.
He's the guy that like tortures language into an increasingly abstract, emotionless nonsense.
That would be, yeah, I'm actually, there's actually like a room where he goes into it with a dictionary and like he comes out and the dictionary's changed. Like,
Yeah.
like he's like got gloves and an apron on and shit.
Oh no, stop saying spree killing. We need a mass casualty event. We need
We need unalivings.
Yes.
Aye, the current like Cut was saying the current crop of sort of
Mm.
the replacement words you need to say like graped, unalive. I've seen so
Self-administered
s-
newspeak.
yeah, that's exactly what it is, man. I think that's why I hate it so much, just
Hmm.
reflexively. Like I've seen in place of uh suicide, sewer slide, like sewer, like the
Sewer
sewer.
slide, yeah.
Yep,
Well,
I'm like,
it's like how everybody says PDF file
oh,
instead.
yep,
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
it's funny because it goes back to that quote you just read. That it was like when everything becomes baby talk,
yeah, oh, yep, I know.
which,
I think
which
there's
is
another angle to that too, though, because it is also forcing people. Okay, so like, I think one of the things that is getting left behind in this age of like information and
information.
exactly and 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 like emotional triggering, like that's basically you sit online and you're taking in information and you're getting emotionally triggered. It's those two things. That's all that's
Hmm.
happening.
Hmm.
Like,
Yeah. Well, what's weird is that I think all like, okay, so those words that the YouTube words are used, they say it's for advertising, but what does it do? It sort of it removes the charge from really emotionally charged words, and it makes them like sound like cutesy or ridiculous or
Hmm.
stupid.
Hmm.
And I feel like um there's some other sinister motivation there
there is,
about.
but I think the like the other side to this is that it's actually forcing people to exercise like a muscle that they might have that might be atrophying.
Hmm.
How do you say that? It's almost because it's almost like poetry.
Oh, well, so if it could turn into Cockney rhyming slang or something, that might be cool. But
Yeah, yeah. See, that's if we could go the distance with it,
yeah,
it could actually be a benefit.
it's just well, I sort of I do like this. Like it's just not absurd enough.
Yeah, yeah. And that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
That's actually a good point. I think I agree. I think if there was more of like a surrealist, I am the walrus, it's like it's stupid sort of linguistic topsy-turvy bent to it. Maybe I could be
Well,
persuaded.
back when the drone, I say drones in parentheses or in quotations because like yeah, there were drones. There were also orange glowing orbs, and
Yep.
the the posts exploded with that shit, right? But they were getting removed from TikTok. So people started calling them Dior bags. And I think that's almost ridiculous enough because it's
Yeah.
the word is in like orb is in there technically.
Aye. No, I straight up just like that. I think that's good.
Uh,
Yeah,
uh,
that one's fun.
Jesus, isn't some of that still going on, but it's just sort of
It's been going on for hundreds and if not thousands of years.
no, well, no, but the particular like flocking of all of them around specific, like it feels like that had this weird peak moment, and then
Mm.
it's
Yeah.
like everything else, it got churned away. But then I kept hearing that like they were happening over bases in Europe, and like they were still going on, and there probably still are going on. But
It's an interesting thing. The ones that happened, the actual, not the orbs, but the actual drones that were over the Danish airports, not
mhm.
that long ago. It happened to occur right before like the Scandinavian countries, at least Denmark, but I thought it was more of them, were deciding on like how much they were going to help out in NATO, I think financially or help out with Ukraine. Or there was like this thing leading up to like
Mm.
how much money do we put forward to protect the EU against Russia or the NATO against Russia? And then it's like, oh, there's suddenly this incursion that nothing happened, but it's enough to we should be very worried about this. You know, it seems a bit strange.
I love the idea that there was a meeting that was happening that somebody was like, okay, this many drones equal this much financial,
Yeah.
this much donation. How many
Well,
do we need to put?
and here's what I don't understand how this doesn't get addressed officially, right? Uh in Denmark, they were the same. Like if you look at the ones in New Jersey on the footage and the ones in Denmark, they're like a green light and a red light, and they have this different look to them. It's the same
Mm,
ones. But
mm.
when Trump came out and made a statement, he said we knew what they were, but we couldn't
Yeah,
talk about it. He couldn't tell us. So like
yeah.
if we know what they are, but they're shutting down Danish airports, I kind of feel like there's a conversation that needs to happen there. And maybe it did, but it's also just kind of funny that they're like, oh, we don't know. And then we're
No, no,
like, well, we do know. And then that's it. That's the last
no,
we
no, no,
fucking
no,
hear
no.
about
We're go back to the beginning of the conversation. The medium is the message. The drones are the conversation.
it. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Is anybody else tired?
Yep. I'm spiritually exhausted.
Welcome to Soapbox. We might be interrupting our regularly scheduled program and dropping this one out of order and like postponing the continuation of the prisoner. I don't know where this is going to land because if we're going to talk about recent events, it probably should drop sooner. But I just feel like this is like emotional processing day for all the shit that like everyone else is reporting. But like if you've
Yeah.
come here, we can just we can just feel it out and be like, what? Yeah, I guess this is real, huh? I mean, here's the thing, it might not be. It still could have been a super AI that churned out these fucking million pages of bullshit. Like here, prompt it with like feed it the real files, tell it what to exclude, and then tell it to confirm every conspiracy theory ever presented by anyone.
Mm.
And that's what we have. And leave out anything that might, oh, wait. Yeah, leave out anything. I would just like to, what's the Department of Justice guy that literally came out and said, quote, it's not illegal to party with Jeffrey Epstein.
Well, you're technically right there, but
I think it technically is.
it might actually be illegal, actually.
Like, and in the same breath, mind you, that he said there's nothing prosecutable herein. There will be no new charges from what we're releasing.
Mm.
Oh,
He
I did
followed
see that.
that with also, we've removed all the photos of gore.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that's true. That's true. I know what you're talking about.
I fucking shit you not. We've reached the level of gaslighting and cognitive dissonance where there's a whole country of people who watched that press conference and have not yet stormed the Bastille. I,
Oh,
I
an
do not
actual,
understand.
and obviously, I understand them not releasing this, the Trump administration not releasing this, but the fact that the apparently it's been confirmed somewhere that there was a lot of uh, like violent, probably illegal porn on about 10 levels. I won't, obviously, we don't need to specify what that probably means.
Mm.
Probably every kind of, fucked up Marquis de Sade perversion you can imagine. It was probably that kind of stuff. Um, so apparently this stuff does exist. They have seen it, but they've just, like you said, they've just sort of intentionally redacted all that stuff. Now, I'm fine with them. No, I don't want to see any of that. And obviously, it makes sense to not have all that stuff floating about online. But what if no new charges are being brought forward? What did they do? What is going to be what are the consequences for all this material? Like, presumably they must have some leads, some of the people involved, some of the people purchasing these materials, because we know if you believe in the efficacy of the emails, we know for some of the emails that there's that guy who says, I really enjoyed the torture video.
That was Epstein that said that.
Was it Epstein that said that? I
He
thought it
said
was
it
a
to someone
guy.
else, yeah.
Oh, right. I thought it was somebody that said that to Epstein. Well, for some reason, it weirds me out less if it's Epstein saying it because I already assume him to be insanely beyond the pale. Um, I just could not imagine somebody getting in good with this insane international mover and shaker, fixer, procurer of women, and saying no speaking in code, no doing the Pizzagate thing, like defaulting to the thieves can't, just saying, "Oh, I loved the torture video.
Yeah.
More of that, please." I'm like, man, this is like the exact kind of person you should not have in your illicit inner circle. But if it was Epstein, then I suppose that does make he feels he's
He
fine.
is the circle.
He is the circle exactly, so
Yeah.
he can speak freely, I suppose.
I
Um,
mean, the sheer amount of things that this file dump confirms that he was behind slash involved with,
yeah,
it's actually unbelievable. It's like it breaks something in me where I'm like, that how
yep,
could one person
yep.
be, and I'm trying to think of examples right now, but there are a lot. I mean, one of the things I just saw was like the timing between one of Netanyahu's like competitors, someone who was running against him in a previous
Hmm.
election, and the timing between like that guy getting, it was like he was involved with Epstein and there were photos and that was going to get out, and like it was like it looks like there was manipulation of elections there
Oh,
Mm.
fuck, man.
through getting like the competitor to get involved with Epstein and then have that like, oh, that might be public, it's kind of it feels like Mr. World from American Gods. Like it doesn't feel real or possible. Um,
Mhm.
and granted, I've been like steeped in conspiracy shit for years. It just, you expect some of it to be wrong.
Hmm.
And I also wonder, like again, okay, if a thing is what it does, what is this? Because it's not justice.
Hmm.
It's not
Well, yeah.
just.
Well, I think there is okay. So if you do take it, um, uh, you do take it on a spiritual level, and that there are things that feed on negative energy. There is a secondary course that's happening of revealing all this stuff. So there's the act of doing it is one level, and then the keeping it secret is another level, and then there's a third level of the revealing of it and the trauma or despair or whatever that might come from that revealing. So
Yeah.
I think there's still a feeding happening. Uh, e- uh okay, so I've kind of stayed uh a little distant, so I don't know all of the details in all of this, but just on a little bit I've picked up, and what you're talking about with like the what is the prosecution like, what is the purpose of this, what's the result, like
Hmm.
it makes me think of there's a finance phrase which is like, if you owe the bank $1,000, that's your problem. If you owe the bank $1 billion, that's the bank's problem.
Hmm.
And there's something about this that like you just have so much criminality that there's just, it's such a high level that it's just like, we don't even know what to do with this.
Hmm.
Like it's just that level of overwhelming.
Aye, it's like the
It,
Rothschilds and stuff.
yeah. What are just like what it would almost make more sense. It's like the Department of Justice, the head of it, just like is immediately arrests himself or something. Like it's at that level of insanity. Um, but yeah, I don't know what the I only have a cursory glancing understanding of what's in all this shit. and it's crazy too because depending on what your interests are, like because I'm on some like smaller, like more specific, obscure subreddits, and it seems like everybody can search those documents and find something
Yep.
that relates to whatever their interest is.
What is it? 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon or whatever.
Yeah,
It's like that, but for
it's 2 degrees of
yeah,
Epstein.
yep, yep. That's exactly what it is. Uh,
Yeah.
what you were saying there, Rev, about how did this guy even? It almost feels hyper real or surreal, or maybe even just straight up fake. That this guy could have done all this, could have had his fingers in so many pies. No, I really probably should have said something different there. I know. I started saying it and was like, well, I've got to finish that. No, but that was
Oh God.
I almost feel like you should cut that. That's no great. Um,
We'll overdub it with the word haggis. So
Oh
haggis,
much
God.
haggis.
haggis, just like
I'm laughing at
artifact
Joe. I'm
audio.
laughing at Joe's response, just for the record.
Uh, but it put me in mind of Laura Palmer. Well, part of the soap opera heightened reality of Twin Peaks is that she finds time to uh, have a boyfriend, a secret boyfriend, a diary, a secret diary, a different secret diary, Meals on Wheels. She goes to school. It's this thing. Obviously, if it was trying to be realistic, it would completely stretch credulity and you could not believe in it. But Twin Peaks is heightened. It's playing with and speaking to the convention of the soap opera form and stuff. So the fact that Laura apparently has like 48 hours in each day to do all this stuff, that's actually part of the point. But it almost feels like Epstein was that, but real. Like
Mm.
how the fuck was this guy just able to do all this? And he
Adrenochrome, baby.
it's got to be. What else
I
could it be?
or it is. So okay. When we look at everything we actually factually know from the MK projects and everything that the US government has done over the years, um, we know that mind control is always linked to trauma. Like any attempts at it,
Yep,
any
yep.
methods, always linked to trauma. And I firmly believe that they've just expanded the MK program in and they, found things that worked, combined that with like ideas from cybernetics. Um, and the whole social contagion thing is just like a thing that came out of cybernetics philosophy. Same with memes. Um,
Yep.
and then it's not the whole package. It's not like this acute, um, intense personal, like hands-on trauma and then reprogramming for some op later. It's like a different level of the same sort of, the same ingredients are involved. They're just like distributed in less intense ways. But like um witnessing everyone had to watch Charlie Kirk die. Everyone
Hmm.
has to see and read these horrors, right? In the
Hmm.
Epstein
Mhm.
drop. And there is trauma there. There's trauma just from seeing these people.
Hmm.
I mean, even for me who already believed that Hillary Clinton ate babies.
Yep. Yep. I know what you mean. I
Like
already believed it, but the confirmation. Yeah.
just reading that and I want to there's a lot to talk about here because I think there was a I saw the great work capitalized and any occultist or anyone
Yep.
who's ever read Crowley is like going to be like, okay,
Yep.
well, there's something there. And I think that was an email from Ghislaine to someone else.
Hmm.
And it confirms if it's real, right? It confirms for me the something that a long-held suspicion of mine, and that's that like the rich and powerful will have been misreading people like Crowley for a very long time. Um,
Hmm.
Mhm.
and the thing is, some of that stuff. it rings true for me in the sense that like if you've ever worked with the dead or been around a traumatic death, the energy that comes off of that is so fucking powerful.
Hmm.
I mean that's what a lot of like Thai amulets are used. They'll use like pry amulets and not and non-pry amulets. They'll use remains of people who died in traumatic or violent ways or before their time because there's still this life essence left in the body because they didn't live out their natural days. So there's like potential energy there. And rather than leave them as ghosts, the Thai magicians will elevate them and give them purpose, and then they will help the living through their remains. And through that, they're earning merits, like spiritual credit for doing good things and helping the living. And through that, they become more elevated and have a better next incarnation. So, knowing the power in there and some of the mechanics of how it works, the idea that someone is using those things, that kind of power as a drug, is not off the table for something that's very real. Um,
Mm.
that's why reading it is it's like if I were a normie, if I didn't believe in this stuff to begin with, I wouldn't believe that this stuff was actually that I would think this whole file drop was fake
Hmm.
because
Yeah.
it's so far out there
Hmm.
and this is all obviously gonna fuel the flames of the fire of like this Christian revival thing where people
Yep.
see the ugliness in the world and so they cling to
Yep.
the nearest ideology. Like usually Christianity is something that people were raised in and they abandoned it. And then they see something fucking terrifying that shows them that there's
Hmm.
more, and they immediately grab that.
They sort of
It's
retreat to it. Yep.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And I understand. I can empathize with that,
I
but I
totally
can
get the
also
impulse.
right. I absolutely do. And I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing until those people start. I mean, Candace Owens is declaring war on pagans.
Yeah.
And she's like, I don't know if she still is, but she was the number one podcast in the world for a little while there.
Hmm.
Um, and some of her takes are awful, and some of her investigative journalism has actually been really good.
Yep. Agreed.
Regardless of fucking any of that, it it doesn't look good for people like me, like to see her saying like all the monotheistic religions are on the same side. And I'm like, you might want to tell the Muslims.
Hmm. It's
I
not
don't
true.
know if they think that they're on the same side as Christians. That might be putting words in some people's mouths there. But
Mm.
and I don't think that the government of Israel feels that way. But like
Yep.
um you know, it's just really odd to see these polarizations happening and like people who don't even believe in this shit being like, well, wait, if Hillary's sacrificing to Moloch in her backyard, like what is real actually? And
Mm.
I don't think the world ever is the same after this. I don't even think we'll see the implications of like how this affects people psychologically
Hmm.
and with this is going to make people ask questions who didn't otherwise have any like real desire to. Um, but God, just the idea that someone like with that kind of money and all kinds of research, he had places in South America from if I can remember correctly,
Yep.
where yeah, aside from his ranch in Texas, which some of those emails talk about making a baby farm.
Yep.
Um,
I'm laughing because it's terrifying.
Yeah, he actually used the term. He was like, if we get this investment of like $1.6 million, then we can within 5 years have our first lab grown designer baby, and we'll
Jesus.
change humanity forever. And he said, and this fucking term made me want to vomit. He said we can get out of the garage biology phase,
Yep. Yep.
which like Jesus fucking Christ, what the imagination draws up from that term.
Mm.
Uh. Yeah, now I'm just paralyzed with disgust. Somebody else take over. It's fucking crazy.
Did you hear what did you hear what name his like main bank account was under?
No.
No.
Bao, like
Oh yeah.
Baal. I
Oh no,
like
really?
the Canaanite fucking deity Baal. And you just think, how on the nose are you even trying to be right now?
That's the thing. It just seems that stuff seems fake.
Yep.
Mentioning Moloch seems fake
Yeah.
because
It's like if an edgy incel teenager wrote a fucking villain.
Yep. I've seen it referred to as it seems like 4chan anti-Semite like shit posting.
Yes, Jesus, what the fuck?
and
Uh,
and the temptation there is for all those people and even some not those people to be like, oh my God, they were right along all along. And I'm trying to think 4 steps ahead and like, how is this going to be useful
Hmm.
as an op later? But I don't know.
it's just more chaos.
Hmm.
Because
Yeah.
I think going back to like the thing you first said too is like how much of this is bullshit? Because there's a very real possibility that it's like in the UFO world they call it passage material, like shit. Well, this no, that actually still counts. It's like what will people take up from this? And we'll just make stuff up and see how people react, and then we'll use that reaction to then uh, you know channel them this other way. Um, and you're right, and like I mean, maybe
Mm.
part of it is to fuel this sort of like we'll corral people into evangelical Christianity again. We'll make the world so evil that they'll just go into CIA Christianity or whatever.
Hmm.
um uh,
Well, going with sorry, you finished that thought. I didn't mean to interrupt.
I don't know if I had much more to say than that. Because I think because like what you're talking about with so if you're into the Western occultism or magic at all, it requires a lot of nuance
Yeah.
Hmm.
in your
Yep.
thinking and how you're handling, and like a lot of just like naked experimentation with, well, what is real, what's real to me, because what might work for me might not work for another person. There's a lot of like very personalized, nuanced exploration and discovery that happens that is seemingly solely slow, not even slowly, just getting sucked out of all of reality. Like no one can have nuanced views or opinions on anything.
Mm.
Hmm.
And it's kind of crazy that I think this is yet another level of this. It's yeah. And that, another part of like going back with what I was saying with those like specific Reddit communities, there might be part of it might be also like we'll just deluge we'll just deliver this deluge of information, and every frenzied uh cult of ideas will be able to twist this and turn it into something that supports their particular ideology.
Yeah,
I
in that sense, it just kind of further solidifies whatever compartmentalized bubble of ideology you're in,
Hmm.
yes, yeah.
potentially.
I had
I
this.
can see that.
What I mean, Joe, I'll let you speak
No,
in
don't
one
be
second.
daft. Don't be daft.
Well, because there's also the it's too big. This is
Yep.
If you're a normal person, this is going to have to be strained through someone.
Hmm.
Whatever you are already listening to or watching, or whoever you pay attention to as a pundit or what the fuck ever, you're going to get some sort of filtered version of this if they even touch it. Because there are some more mainstream people. I know Matt Taibbi has no interest in this, um, uh, which is odd to me. But uh,
I don't think it's socially responsible to have zero interest in something that actually touches every corner of the world in some way. Like
mm,
I think people should care a little bit.
mm,
If you're like if you're someone who's commentating on things that happen, uh,
yeah,
I don't know. It seems a bit odd to totally avoid something that's that I mean the whole world is paying attention to this.
Yeah.
It's
But yeah.
yeah.
I'm sorry. What were you going to say, Joe? You were going to say something before
I, I was going. I mean, you guys spit some fire there. I'm about to spit some not fire. It was just it's going to be a smoke at best here. It was just something that occurred to me the other day. You know that idea? It's a kind of cliche that people say about the Velvet Underground that not a lot of people listen to them, but everybody that listened to them formed a band.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, not a lot of people are actually going to read these files, but
Mm,
a lot of people, in terms
okay.
of right,
Yeah.
so most, and you would almost say most people probably won't engage with them, other than second or third hand reportage, which is
Yes.
obviously going to be covered somewhat by that particular your chosen, like you said, Kurt, your chosen sort of ideological tastemaker, whatever their pre-existing assumptions and priors are politically, it's going to be filtered and strained through that. And most people are just not going to engage firsthand with the source material, as it were. But to both of your guys' point, almost every like I really do. This does feel like a bit of an epochal moment. Like things are going to be like demonstrably different, especially on a long enough timeline. I
Yeah.
do think culturally there are going to be huge downstream effects from this. Religion will be part of it, like you said, a return to a kind of. But see, I don't. Who am I? I'm just a fucking guy on a couch, right? I don't have a right to judge why anybody else uh, seeks religion or. And obviously, I know traumatic events, lifetime events, and
Mm,
so why no cultural events? Why can cultural events not make you want to seek religion? But I just feel like if you're reaching to faith out of like pure reaction or a kind of flailing instinct, because you need it, you need moral grounding because you've just seen the face of immorality or amorality. It's probably not going to stick.
yeah.
I think. I mean, I could be wrong. That could be a cynical thing, and obviously, I'm no. I like I said earlier when Rev first floated the idea. I totally understand the impulse to retreat to these. Like you said, it's you're being presented with Epstein right now is like the secular Satan. He's kind of like the Hitler figure.
Mm,
So it makes sense that a return to God would follow. Knew that we're all being forced to sort of stare into the face of Satan, as it were. Um, and I don't really like this characterization, Epstein, I must say. And I certainly don't like it when you launder it through, as we were speaking about on Discord, the kind of 25th iteration of the Red Scale, when somehow, when Epstein was saying, when it was almost coming out and saying, I'm CIA, I am an Israeli asset, what he actually meant was, I'm working for Putin. It's like what the fuck?
Yeah.
Like, and it's all the UK media have they've been given their marching orders. That's what it sounds like. They're all in complete lockstep. Everybody is saying he's a Putin stooge, he's a Putin stooge, and it's like, how the fuck have you came to that conclusion?
It's interesting to see how Starmer is only okay with specific types of rape.
Look, you can say that. I couldn't possibly repeat that. And just for what it's worth, I laughed at a joke that was off screen. People can't see the joke. I wasn't laughing at what Rev said.
Oh man.
I would never laugh at something so crass and true.
Uh, I might have to cut that part out. I would really
no, it
hate for
took
you to
me a
go to
second
jail.
to understand what you were doing. That's fucking amazing.
I actually think it would be all right because I didn't actually say it.
Well, he might have
But
to step down anyway. He admitted that he installed that one guy after he found out he had a relationship with Epstein, and that
oh,
was like post Epstein's sexual
but
misconduct trials. Like,
I actually wanted to ask you guys. I have no idea about this, right? Peter Mandelson has been a huge figure in UK politics since I was a child. His nickname was the Prince of Darkness. It was
Holy
so
shit.
so no, like genuinely, the guy was known for. And look, at the time, I think a lot of people wrote all these rumors off because he's gay, and they thought this is probably some sort of latent cultural homophobia. And there probably was a bit of that, to be fair. But what people were actually saying about him, it actually turns out it was probably all correct.
God damn.
Which is it does not feel good to say, obviously. And
Yeah.
I'm so I just wanted to ask, do you guys? Is Peter Mandelson remotely a known figure in the
No,
US?
never,
No?
never. I don't think
Right,
I've probably heard about him in passing, but that was not, it was not a thing I would remark.
right.
That would have, yeah.
That is that's the guy I was just talking about, right? I couldn't remember the
Yep,
name. Yeah,
yep.
yeah. That's the guy yeah.
Starmer appointed him as the liaison to America. Like you said, he'd been friends with Epstein since like I think the early 90s. Um, and the Lord, the Prince of Darkness, he'd been fired. He was the spin doctor for um for Tony Blair and Gordon
Tony
Brown
Blair.
during
Okay.
their prime minister bids, and
Okay,
he was
so he was a member of the government
yep,
then.
and the
Okay.
left the left wing of the government. He was actually responsible in large part for Tony Blair's "Things Can Only Get Better" campaign in the late 90s, the cool Britannia moment where
Hmm.
politics and Britpop kind of fused. That was Mandelson was like behind all that stuff. And he was fired for sort of like insider trading sort of stuff. Like
Hmm.
he was fired for he was fired from Blair's cabinet, and then Blair brought him back 18 months later, and then he joined Gordon Brown's cabinet, and he was also fired for there. And then, like 10 years later, Keir Starmer's chief aide, I forget the guy's name. It's like Murray Morgan or something. It's a made up fucking superhero name. Uh, this guy was Peter Mandelson's protege, and obviously he's like bring Peter Mandelson back on board, even though the guy's been done twice, arguably three times, been fired for like two different governments. Was had all these rumors about him. Everybody knew about his ties to Epstein. People and Kemi Badenoch, the conservative head. You might have seen this, Rev. She at the PMQs yesterday, I think. She was given she was giving Keir Starmer it right in the neck, and I'm not a fan of the Conservatives or Kemi Badenoch, but she done really well. She really held his feet to the fire, and she said Starmer said just a weird, slimy, evasive politician thing about Mandelson passed the safety checks. We looked into him, and he denied being friends with Epstein. And Kemi Badenoch just said, "You could Google it." I googled it, and you could see pictures of them together. You shouldn't have needed your security to look into him because you could have
But
just googled it.
but we
Um,
asked him.
yeah, but no, that was his defense. That was
Yeah.
Starmer's defense. No, but we asked him, and he said, "No, I promise, I'm not friends with Epstein." He promised,
I
and then if
someone else
Pinky
is
swore,
he's trying to like put the responsibility on him. Well, he lied, and it's like, well, then you're incompetent.
yep,
Like if you it's your job to check the facts on this. I mean, clearly everyone knew, and it's just the way it goes. I mean, they probably had him like going as a liaison to the states so that they would have something to talk about with the US politicians.
probably. Oh man,
Like, oh, we got
it's just
a lot in common, I hear. Little St. James, see you there.
oh man, it's that's So the Peter Mandelson connection, the Starmer connection, the Tony Blair stuff. There's apparently Tony Blair went to like orgies on Epstein's island and stuff. Who knows if any of that's true? Allegedly. Uh, um, who knows if any of that's true, but you pretty much cannot convince me, and I think a lot of people are the same, that Starmer did not know that Mandelson's relationship with Epstein continued post Epstein's child trafficking incarceration.
Hmm.
And there's just I I really, really, I mean, I should they say this right? I really hope he gets a vote of no confidence. I try to no be this kind of guy, right? I don't really want to wish ill on anybody if I can avoid it, but Stormer's been really testing me over the last 48 hours.
I mean, that's not ill will. You're not wishing him harm. You're wishing
The
he
political
in
process to function,
yeah,
Well,
yeah,
good
yeah.
point. Good point.
You're just wishing for the political machine to function normally.
which
Well,
is
that what?
not what it does.
Yeah,
Which
aye.
is yeah,
No,
which
actually,
sounds like a big ask at this point in the
aye.
timeline,
You've
but it
you've both
shouldn't
made great
be.
points there. That's essentially what aye, exactly. I want the political due process to be adhered to, and for if this was anybody else, and Starmer, I don't know if you guys know this, Starmer is the least popular UK Prime Minister in history,
Yeah,
like
his
in history.
Why does he have the sound? Why does his name sound like a Star Trek character?
Keir Starmer.
That's the thing I don't understand.
I think all of the public figures are just I kind of think they're all inventions and most of the time.
Lieutenant Keir Starmer of the starship Grift. I don't know what would like I just yeah, I because I heard like when I heard that guy's name for the first time, I'm like, that guy's English? What?
I hate that his family are Scottish. That's painful.
Oh, are they? Okay.
Aye,
How
Keir's
is it?
a
That's a
Scottish name.
Scottish Starmer? Is
I
a
don't know
Scottish?
about I don't know about Starmer, but I think maybe he's part something else. But Keir is a
Okay.
Scottish name, and I think his dad's Scottish.
Okay.
Um, so that's painful. That's a wee bit of national shame there. Great, it always goes down well in the
Yeah,
moment.
This is just a long English fucking plot, is what it is. It's like we're gonna fuck Scotland this other way. We're gonna have our worst prime minister in the world. And then right as they boot him out, he's gonna be in full kilt and everything.
Uh,
damn.
and weirdly, I don't know why, right? I don't really have a great point to make here, but something about Amelia as an online figure, a
Yeah.
totemic figure of in the UK and increasingly internationally, and the Epstein stuff feels like they were fated to happen so close together.
Mm, mm.
I need to think about it more, but there is something. I feel like there's some linkage between them, and not just because Epstein was apparently big into AI back in
Uh-huh.
the day. Aye, and also pushing. I saw the he was a big early proponent trans healthcare medicalization.
Mm.
So he really did have. There was a startling amount of cultural issues and touchstones
Hmm.
um, that you see frequently in the discourse nowadays that he was talking about in emails dating back to like 2008, 2009.
Mm.
Wow.
So that's pretty crazy.
Um,
Yeah.
okay, so you should probably tell people what Amelia is.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Because I don't, I you know, I
I wouldn't
because
have I
if
definitely
you
wouldn't
hadn't
have
brought it
known
up, I
without
don't
you.
think I would have heard it.
Oh,
It might have come like 3 weeks down the road or something. I would have learned about it or something, or 3 months, if at all.
well, first off, I'll ask this. This is a good way to start. Uh, this is partially for me and partially just to get the Amelia ball rolling here. Do you guys have quangos in the US?
Quangles.
Quangos, Quango. Do you guys have
I
that term?
don't. What is that?
No.
No, right. A quango is a quasi-autonomous, non-governmental organization.
Oh
Right.
God.
So this is one of the most UK coded things you've ever heard, right? We love that. So it's basically just an organization that acts. It's technically independent of the government, but it's partially funded and regulated by the government.
Like the Council on Foreign Relations.
Well, yes.
Oh
Yep.
man, I don't know if you know who UAP Gerb is, but this sounds like some shit he would be saying. Do you know him?
I don't think so.
Okay, UAP Gerb is like he's this guy that goes into like insane detail about the sort of government structures, like the structure of the systems that are probably handling like UFO crash retrieval and like production of vehicles and like all this stuff. And his videos are like endless fucking acronyms, like dumps, like deep underground military base is one of them, or DUMS. Sorry, that's one is one of them. He's got another one that's for um, like military contractors have some other stupid fucking acronym, but that's what that reminded me of just like some random stupid government, just so that I guess like so people could just talk in jargon endlessly. And it's like we'll turn our perfectly reasonable language into some sort of like
Yep.
impenetrable babble.
I
Yeah, it's like a passive resistance against outsiders.
Yes, yeah.
that's
But what is the word again? Quetzal? What is it?
Quango,
Quangle.
Quango,
I think
quasi-autonomous.
We,
Sorry.
we should start a hat company called Quangle.
Hold on. Do you know what I'll do? I'll type it so you can see it, right?
uh
That's you because my tongue's no helping me. Quango.
Quango. Yeah.
I prefer your pronunciation that almost sounds like it has an L at the end. I like that more.
I can't fix that. Sadly, that's that comes with the face.
It's Quango. It's Quango Unchained.
What? Dude? Why has nobody done that? Oh, it's right there. Oh, Quango Unchained. Oh, that's funny. Uh, my eyes are kind of watering up a bit here. Um, right. So Amelia is from a video game called Pathways, which was designed to teach school children and maybe at like 18 going to college, going to sixth form college over here, about extremism and radicalization and how to stop from falling down a far right pipeline.
Okay.
It was developed by Shoutout UK and it was funded by Prevent, who are a Quango in the UK, right? So they are regulated and funded by the government and government adjacent. Although technically the argument would be that they're independent, but they're not independent. It is Pathways, the video game, is functionally state propaganda. We maybe half a step a remove. Amelia is a purple-haired goth girl with a choker and a mole under her eye, who is a far-right nationalist who attempts to steer your main character Charlie out of. She tries to steer you towards looking up race statistics and gone to far right, gone to anti-immigration demonstrations, and I mean this sincerely. Everything that Amelia makes you do in this video game is fine. None of it is extremism. It's literally just engaging in the democratic process, looking at the other side. None of it is extremism. She never gets you to attack people. She never gets you to say slurs. Uh, none of this stuff. But as per Prevent and Shout Out, she is like far right, and that in UK speak UK parlance, that just means not progressive, right?
Yeah.
It's probably quite similar to the US, I would say, in that sense. You're far right. You could be a classical liberal, and people would call you far right, because you differ on one or two key identitarian issues, you know. So Amelia has been reclaimed through shit posts and edits and cosplays and AI as a kind of bastion, everything like irreverent, based, offensive, genuinely far right at points as well. And she's become a kind of, and it's funny because you see sort of leftists and progressives and stuff really get into it as well. And this is the thing. When I first showed you Amelia, we all of us came to the immediate same conclusion. Why would you make the purple-haired goth the character that's meant to repel young men away from extremism? Like,
Yeah. If anything, the purple hair goth is the best tool you have in converting conservative men to liberal men.
agreed. I fully agreed. Um, so that's just a baffling decision right there. So Amelia she's been, if you listen to like an online sort of broadcast, radio broadcast and internet broadcast like LBC, which are kind of sometimes centre left, mostly pretty far left politics. They would say that she's been subverted and perverted for what she was originally meant to be, but the character was the character failed as propaganda because nothing she actually said in the game was extreme. So it wasn't even like propaganda that did its job well. And so Amelia, she's everywhere online. People love her. People are cosplaying as her. Every group chat I'm in is just filled with pro and anti Amelia talk. I was going to say this to you guys earlier, but I was banned from speaking on Discord for 12 hours. Uh, because it wasn't actually an Amelia meme. It started because of Amelia. We were posting memes, and gradually the memes were getting spicier, right? And
Yeah.
that's the joke. The joke is we are escalating it. It was everything was in good fun, or so I thought, and I was banned from posting on Discord for 12 hours. Because I'll send you the meme that I posted at some point, and you can be the judge.
Will you get banned again, or was this someone reporting you?
Somebody I'm in a, I won't say the Discord, but I'm in a Discord, and somebody on that Discord. There's not a
He's
ton
a
of people.
fucking dirty rat.
One of them was like, I'm offended at this, and rather than bring it up, I'm just going to report him to Discord for violation of the terms of service.
If you're offended by a meme to the point where you want to tell the government or the authority
Yep.
figure or whatever about it, you have emotional problems.
Well, look, I agree.
Sorry,
I
but
agree.
like we're not, if we're at that stage of emotional development, we should not be permitted to use the internet.
I agree. I totally agree. And
It's for adults.
neither here nor there, but had any of these, the person in question who I don't know who was offended, had they brought it up to me and said, "Look, that's actually like offensive or whatever,"
Yeah,
maybe
you felt bad.
I mean, I probably would have said, "You should be less sensitive. You should be less fragile." But if they were decent about it, I would have deleted it because it's not that big a deal. But they did not engage me in a conversation. So,
You're like,
um,
I'm very sorry that you're having to deal with those feelings that you're having right now.
I mean that's
It's like,
that's all you can say, really.
yeah, it's just I like being very careful with the language so that it's like, remember, this is not mine. Like, I did not make this meme.
Yep.
I did not cause those feelings in you or make the meme remind you of this thing that happened. Like, that's those things fall in your world of control. Like, you can
The
control where you take in media and where you don't.
Yep.
The true high level troll would save all the best ones for when you do get direct messages and then you just respond with worse memes. That would probably be the way to handle
Ah, fuck. I wish I was operating on that level. That would have been so funny.
I, yeah, like I don't ever want to be insensitive, but
None of that.
my sense of humor is inherently insensitive. Like
Yep.
I am absurdist. I think the most horrible thing that you are not supposed to say is the funniest thing to say, generally
Absolutely.
speaking.
Yep.
Not like within reason. Like I think there's even like bad taste to be found if you go too far in that direction. And everyone has their own threshold for that. But mine's pretty fucking
Yeah,
lenient.
same, same.
Yeah, it requires a certain level of trust and comfort with the people around you to. Well, I mean, there's always a risk with it, but
I think
yeah, to
I think
say
if you feel if you feel the words and those are upsetting you instead of like the contextual like this person's intention, do I think their intention was to hurt?
Hmm.
Like if the words are hitting you before the intention or what you
Hmm.
perceive as the
Yep.
intention, then you're already in a trauma state before you entered into that situation.
I
It's
fully
only
agree. Yeah.
you're in a fight or flight like trauma-based mentality if the words themselves are appearing and hitting you more than like the actual point of the or intention of communication, I suppose. Sorry.
Um, no, no. I mean, I think you're bang on the money there. I totally agree. And
sounds like something Amelia would say. That's what I got.
Let me just light this cigarette with a burning picture of Starmer.
I love the especially any of the anti-Stalmer ones. Like there's the one that's the 1984 movie, and it's Stalmer in place of Big Brother, and Amelia's running towards the telescreen with a sledgehammer. That's great.
It's
I didn't see that.
I generally am not I generally hate AI, but this is what it's good for.
Yep. Oh,
Yeah,
agreed. Agreed on both points.
This is
yeah.
actually what it's good for.
And like I'm not I have no opinion like I have no place to have any opinion on anything that's happening in the UK whatsoever, right? Really, except for the Epstein stuff, because that's the whole world has a right to care about that. But
Yep.
what uh what I what is so interesting to me about this is like I want to believe that it's some British Isles goddess trying to preserve a way of life that is beyond political anything, right? That
Mhm.
things are changing too fast in a place where things have been relatively the same for a very long time. There are ways of doing things, there are
Mhm.
traditions. I it is a culture that I think if I were like a patron spirit of that culture, I would have some alarm bells going off, not just because of immigration, because
Mhm.
of the totalitarian sort of vibe that's coming, that's sort of emanating down from on high at this time. So there's something really profound about we're going to use this like image, this avatar to try and program or like somehow propagandize. Let's face it, it was geared towards young men.
Yep.
And apparently, from what I read, nowhere in that game did it mention looking out for far left extremism.
No, no, literally not once.
And you know, if you've ever listened to the show before, you probably know that my opinion is that far left and far right extremism are like camped in the same campground with just a hedge between them.
Yep.
'Cause it's like
Agreed.
you go
Fully
far
agreed.
enough. It's like a video game. You go far
And then
enough,
they
old school video game, you go far enough in one way and you come out the other side of the screen.
yeah. Yeah, and both sides of that camp are using the hedge to toss their waste over. Is probably how that works.
That's probably true.
And the
Um,
centrists are just hiding in the hedge,
they're covered in shit,
covered in
totally
shit
covered in shit.
from both sides. Yeah.
But I hadn't even thought about this. What? How is how is King Arthur viewed now?
Uh,
No kings, bro.
well, no kings is actually you're more correct there than you probably intended to
Oh,
be.
God damn it.
I know it's depressing. I love Arthurian myth. I've been into all that stuff since I was a child. I've never. It's kind of like I've mentioned to you guys before about my. Uh, I have inside me the Roman statue, like Roman bust history autist. I have one of those guys inside me, that I can't like switch off, and I have part of that for Arthurian stuff, a part of it for Rome. I've just never can't part of it for the Old West as well.
Hmm.
It's just, and I've never grew out of loving those the historical places as historical settings and as pop cultural settings and stuff. Um, King Arthur is viewed now as like like kind of embarrassing, like uh completely unnourishing folk myth that's all today with the divine right of kings and whiteness and all this stuff. It's like it's one of the first things that was effectively like decolonized in the UK was in like universities and stuff. It was we need to not talk about Arthurian myth because it's
Yeah.
like it's othering and it speaks to the English as a people and not a set of values that you can just opt into,
Hmm.
you know?
Yep. But
So
it's part of your cultural
yep,
heritage and like spiritual identity in a way. And
yep,
so
100%.
we're gonna need to strip that from you if you're gonna comply with WEF protocols.
You fucking nailed it, dude. And it's really it's not just kind of embarrassing on a national level. I mean, I'm Scottish, but I have English family, and I'm sure I have even more English ancestry were I to go back, and do like a DNA test or whatever. Um, so I'm no one. I'm really no one of these Scottish people that's I've never had any animus towards England. I love England. I think England and Scotland are really fucking similar. The Union has been in place for hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years. To the betterment, pretty much, certainly to the betterment of Scotland. Sometimes for England, it's not been so great. We have been a bit of a financial burden on England at points as a country, but no to self-flagellate about it either. But I just think it's really sad that like part of the sort of the blood memory, the inherited folk way, the traditions, the historicity that defines your culture, you're not allowed to claim or take pride in, or even really just take an interest in, because it might be seen as like nationalistic or whatever. I just fucking hate that all that stuff, man. It's just
Hmm.
diet academic fucking jargon. Like all that stuff is fine when it's in academia. Why the fuck is it being projected outside? You know?
Yeah.
I feel the
Um,
same way about like therapy speak.
a
How
hundred percent.
how like the way that is appropriate to speak in a therapy session has now become some kind of weird expectation in certain circles and in certain spaces, like as a common just way of talking. And it's like, actually, no, this belongs in a compartment. We're not all supposed to. Yeah. Um, I I think that stories resonate with each person uniquely, but there's also a shared understanding of them. So it allows for this like microcosmic understanding and then this shared kind of general understanding as well. And you can extract different things from them at different times, and they're very malleable in that way. And that makes them kind of like, yeah, you don't know what's going to rise up out of a story and that people are going to suddenly take seriously. So I think for people who want to control a populace, it makes much more sense to have like this bullet list of shit It's just like
Mhm.
here, you just plug into this and go. You're
Mhm.
good. It's plug and play ethics. It's plug and play values. But those as quickly, but those are like those are super have super shallow roots inside of a person,
Yep.
right? The meaning isn't in the bullet points or the explanation or the int overly intellectualized sort of application of an ideology over top of what's already there. Like what's real is the like what has real depth and what has staying power and what is difficult to overwrite is this you knowing the same stories that all your dead ancestors knew. That the story resonates through generations and through experience and through struggle and good times and bad. And like that's the way a story weaves itself through a person's like lineage or cultural lineage is wildly powerful. And
Mhm.
when you start trying to take those away and just give people it's literally that scene in The Prisoner when he find like in the Wild West town where everything becomes made
Harmony.
of cardboard cutouts.
Yeah, yep.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah, it happens in Blazing Saddles too. Blazing Saddles, if you're not done watching The Prisoner yet, whenever everything in the town is just cardboard cutouts. It's like it looks real. It's real enough for the time being, but after, I mean, it's gonna fall apart in the rain. It's not gonna be there in like it's not gonna stand the test of time because its roots are shallow.
Mhm.
Mm.
You can't actually replace real tradition, real cultural inheritance that has a spiritual valence and a historical valence. You can't actually replace this with like a kind of one size fits all. Um, it is like it is a value set in a way, but it's a value set that almost defines itself by negation. It's anti-tradition, anti-norm, anything that sort of that smacks old timey tradition and all that stuff. It's so like that phrase to toss the baby out with the bathwater
Hmm.
is constantly in my head these days. Well,
Mm.
I think we've actually spoken about this before. I don't think anybody would disagree with the idea that for instance, like the European or the Western artistic canon, it probably was the relative scarcity of like non-white, non-native voices not having the same degree of visibility that natives did that led to the canon looking as white as it was, right? But I'm just not. But like this is the thing that always runs through my head. That is the canon. You can't, in a
Mm.
very real sense, you can't actually rewrite history.
Mm.
No, you can
No.
you can change how things are taught now, but the canon is what it is. History has been set. You know what I mean? It only goes in one direction.
Yeah.
Well, you can. Well, so everything that's added to it are, finding neglected voices or whatever is still in uh in relation to that Western canon anyway.
Yep.
Yeah, it's
You don't
like
have to delete, you don't have to
yeah,
erase anything to add.
you don't have to delete it. And in fact, the contrast is probably what makes it interesting.
Yep. It's not one or the other.
Yeah.
They can coexist.
Um I was a little distracted because Joe, I just had this stupid idea. What if Amelia's Morgan Le Fay?
That okay. Now that is an interesting proposition.
Oh, I love it.
Uh,
Oh, ooh.
Oh,
Yeah.
you've really got me wanting to do some Arthurian rereading and literally have that in mind as I'm doing it. Oh man, that's really interesting. And
Now
Oh,
I know she's usually the villain, but still, I mean,
oh no, that kind of works though because
yeah,
Amelia's meant to be the villain.
yeah,
yeah, and now and like in all the memes, it's like she's embracing that. So
Yep, yep.
yeah.
Like,
Oh,
we're not saying we agree with anything at all here on the podcast. We
Yeah.
just think it's fucking interesting. Like,
yep.
Yeah.
it is so fascinating to see this thing explode and backfire so tremendously.
And I, I don't believe in denying a even if she's completely virtual, a woman her agency. I mean, that's
Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
the form has been created. So now like
yes.
whatever being wants to inhabit that and run away with run off with it and do whatever the fuck they want. Like I think that's kind of might be what we're witnessing.
your byline now, Kurt, should be like Kurt Huggins' staunch ally. That was beautiful. You really threw your hat in the ring there for women's rights, digital women's rights even. That's allyship that you don't see often. Beautiful.
uh, yeah, I guess I appreciate that. I guess I can reveal that I'm in the Epstein files. That's
Uh,
I
that's that's where it's heading. Is the next 4 million is just you find your own name.
uh,
Maybe this is just how they start like taking whoever out they want to. Is they'll just from now on, anytime like they get a list of problematic citizens and then they just release a new Epstein files drop and it's like all these emails and like your name's on there and you're just some nobody at home. Soon enough, like the angry mobs at your house. Like, oh, okay. I see what they were doing with the list now. I get it now. I get it now.
Yeah,
That's actually pretty clever.
that's smart. Yeah.
Um, I don't want to get too far away from Amelia if we're not done there, but there was something else I wanted to mention before I forgot. Um, so
Is there porn yet? There has to be porn.
no, I've not seen any, but come on, there was probably porn within the
wouldn't it be
first 12 hours.
wouldn't it be amazing if there wasn't because they respect her too much?
Maybe it might be.
That's the
I
the
would
Kurt
actually
Huggins
like
principle.
I would hats off to that. That's like that would be amazing. No, you don't drag her name through the dirt.
She's
Like
digital. She's still a queen.
more respect for yeah,
She's
more
still a
respect for
queen.
a cartoon character than anyone elected to office. Um,
That's because everyone is actual cartoon characters. So they're,
yeah,
they're
I'm still completely open to the so they never said that they couldn't clone humans back in the 90s. They just said that it was unethical back in the
Hmm.
90s.
Yeah.
So like, I mean, go look at like random pages from the Epstein list or from the Epstein files, then come back and tell me that you don't think they can clone a human. Like, look me in the eyes and tell me you don't think they can clone a human. Like, really. Um, and actually, okay, that does bring us back around. I guess I'll just go with it for now. Uh, so I wanted to talk about like this whole idea of designer babies and then
Mhm.
these occult themes throughout the file dump. And then
Mm.
so what I said before about like I meant to bring this up earlier, so I'm circling back. But this idea of quote basement biology and this definite like theme of baby farms and things. I have a feeling they read Moonchild by Aleister Crowley. Like I have a feeling that this is an important book to them. To the people
Mm.
who are sick fucks. I personally like I've read enough Crowley to know that he's I mean, okay, so I don't like it when people feign sincerity or put on too many airs or that they think they're so fucking smart that they can make everything into like some kind of parody or act or do you know what I mean? It's like incel behavior,
Mhm.
if that makes
No,
sense.
totally. I totally get that.
And um and I think it just makes people feel really smart to go like, oh, they don't know if I'm serious or not. Michael Aquino is one of those guys, the Temple of Set founder, and
Yep.
um, like I mean, I've read a few things about him. I've never read his actual work. I don't really care to. Like, I'm not interested. But I think that Satanism is lame conceptually. I
Same.
understand. I because it's like this childish rebellion thing that okay, if you're going to be part of an ism, and that ism is it only exists because of the thing you don't like, which is Christianity, like it's directly juxtaposed to that.
Mhm.
Um, and so it is sort of like this, and like whether or not the people in there are like specifically like against the conventions of Christianity that are oppressive or wrong, or if it's like, no, I just hate good things because I want to
Mhm.
be evil. There are both sides to that, right?
Yep.
There are Satanists who are doing one thing and then Satanists who are doing another. Michael Aquino said he wanted to start the Temple of Set to kind of like expand outside of that. Like he wanted to break out of the Christian paradigm and be able to do whatever the fuck it is that he does, like in a more sort of universal way. Now, I I think when if you look at that, and then there seems to be this like I know he consulted. At least the story goes that he was a consultant for the government on psyops. Now, I've also read that most of that was made up by him, and this gets into that incel behavior shit. Like, so just being fucking radical and tricking people just for fun, like that's not helpful. Um, it's silly. It's like childish bullshit behavior. Uh,
Do you guys remember the dirtbag left?
no.
The
I remember the term, but I don't really know
The
what it
the
was or what it is.
It's essentially left wing political or cultural, podcasters, writers, etc., who were like kind of left wing edgelords. They wanted to reclaim words like retard and gay,
Mm,
and no have the left be mired down in so much like tone policing and that the kind of worse aspects of like identity politics. And one of the most famous dirtbag left exports. And I was a huge fan. I still listen to old clips every now and again of the podcast Come Town. I don't know if you guys have ever listened to Come Town.
I've heard little bits of it, and
Mm.
it was genuinely hilarious at
It's
moments.
it's it is a very funny podcast. I still to this day enjoy going back to the podcast. But all three of the hosts, they have that thing that Rev just highlighted there. Well, and we've kind of spoke about it in reference to some right wing guys like current day Sam Hyde and Nick Fuentes and stuff. Well, everything is obfuscated behind these 12 distinct layers of ironical detachment and remove that
yeah.
when they're actually trying to speak sincerely to real genuine beliefs, they still aren't able to fully detach from that kind of it's like it is irreverence, but it doesn't feel it feels like a reflex. It feels like irreverence as a kind of it makes me think of like a Bertolt Brecht, the the dramatist. The he had all these techniques for plays that were all about distancing the audience from the action on stage. It sort of feels like that, but for like dick jokes and cultural commentary. And I don't understand how you can. There's a kind of cognitive dissonance where on the one hand on the one hand you're trying to speak to real like cultural and political things that you seemingly sincerely believe in, but you won't actually speak about it from a place of sincerity. So the entire act of engaging with it is it's rendered completely flat.
Yeah.
it's frustrating, and it's just interesting to remember that it happens on the left as well as the right, you know.
Right. Um, so this this book Moonchild
Mhm.
is a book by Crowley, and it was basically a fiction story. Some say part true, but it was a kind of a manifesto as well. At least like it kind of seems that way. And I don't think that it was actually like insidious or evil. It talks about like a magical group and a pregnant woman like working together to essentially bring in higher intelligence to the child as it's gestating, right? So there's this idea of making like a superhuman essentially. Now, it sounds kind of eugenicsy,
Mhm.
but it
Mhm.
also could just be like a really sound way of doing some like becoming more aware of the spiritual reality that we actually live in already. And I like I don't see anything insidious in and of itself, but I can easily see this being read by someone like Ghislaine or Epstein, right?
Mhm.
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 And then that leading to other things. Um, Now, it's interesting to me that these people are kind of confirmed into some kind of occult shit. And then we
Mhm.
have all the tech bros who are into Nick Land. Now,
Mhm.
Nick Land is like the CCRU, or is that what it's called? CCRU? It's like this
Yeah, I
like
think that's right.
Mhm.
like
Yep.
computer logic based system of magic essentially. Um, but he's also like a believer in the dark enlightenment and accelerate in like a pioneer of accelerationism, which is basically
Yep.
like everything's so bad, let's just keep making it shit until it's all fucked. Like that's kind
Until
of
it
my understanding.
induces a like basically like sin so much that God has to show up and fix things, I think is almost the attitude.
Mhm.
Right. And you
Yeah.
know, it's like just do what any normal person does and get a fucking drug addiction if you're tempting God. Like you don't need to ruin other people's day. You can ruin your own day. Um,
um yeah.
but I
I
think it's interesting that Peter like people like Peter Thiel uh are fascinated by Nick Land's work because the people that are in charge of this kind of technology are like into this sort of dark enlightenment type of stuff. Like if you cross the own bound the your own boundaries of like right and wrong enough times and in extreme enough ways, the idea is that you essentially are liberated from being human. Like your humanity is burned out of you after
Mhm.
enough atrocity and horrific things that you've experienced. That's what they want. Like that's what some people think is a good idea. Um,
Mhm.
And I think it's interesting that in the occult world, you don't hear many people say, like, I think that's kind of fucked up. Like, people just kind of go along and nod. I think most of the time, assuming that there's something about it that other people get that they don't, and they don't want to be called out for being like, but isn't this kind of shitty? You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Mhm.
Like no one ever says that. So unless it's someone on the far outside of it. So I just think it's interesting that we have like there's there's so much coming out uh right now that's like just further solidifying this. Um Basically the contention that I've always had is that the people at the top don't believe in materialism at all. Like they've studied consciousness with an endless budget and zero oversight since like the 40s, 50s. They figured out by now that like your spirit is your consciousness and that's not attached. That's not your brain, and that's this outside thing that you are, and you're only in your body for a time. And I have no
Mhm.
doubt that they've done enough dark experiments to figure out how to like utilize these things in a semi-magical way, at least. Uh,
Mhm.
I guess that's the end of my rant. I just think it's fucking fascinating because I remember reading Moonchild years ago, and then seeing this Epstein shit, and then when I saw in Ghislaine's email like the great work capitalized, I'm like, No, it does all make it all makes perfect sense that these fucking psychos don't know what they're actually doing, but think they do.
Mm, mm.
Is that not actually one of the I own Moonchild, but I've never read it. I will probably have to give that a look at some point. I've owned it for years. I've read a bunch of Crowley's other stuff, but I've never read Moonchild. It sounds pretty interesting. Was one of the photos and the Epstein the batch there, the Epstein file stuff was that no was there no like a shrine in one of these properties that had recreations of the same pillars as the Temple of Set?
The
Oh,
I don't know what I
I
don't know
don't know
what those
about
pills.
I don't know about the pillars. I mean, it does seem like uh it does seem like there are quite a few shrines.
Mhm.
Mm,
I'll see if I can find this. I'm positive I saw. I watched something when I was like my eyes were rolling at my head. I was almost sleeping. I'll need to. Hopefully, I didn't dream this. I'm sure it's real.
mm.
I'll see if I can find this at some point. And if I find it, I'll send you guys it. Uh,
Hmm.
I uh, this circles all the way back to what when you're first talking, Rev, and it's a really stupid thing, but I was like, I wonder if like you know Satanism is mostly run by atheists because Satan's like, God, these fucking people are so lame and just will not show up.
well, have you guys ever listened to last podcast on the left?
Yes, yes.
They I don't know if those guys currently would call themselves Satanists, but at one
Mm.
point, two of the hosts were practicing Satanists, and I think one of them said that's actually how Satanism was sold to him by someone else, was it's like cool atheism.
Huh.
Oh.
Yeah, because it's you're worrying about the self instead, and they
Yep.
present it in this like kind of dry philosophical tone. Cool. If that's all it is, then great. I happen to know spirits are real though. And like
Yep.
so I'm not afraid of like Satan. I'm not afraid of especially not Lucifer. Different beings, by the way. And like I just think it's okay. So whether or not Satanism is about things like sacrificing children and performing, so you'll get all kinds of answers depending on who you ask. And depending on like which version of Satanism you're going with. Like I'm no expert because I genuinely don't care about that kind of like that current at all. Aside from like Peter Gray's work on Lucifer, which is actually really worthwhile.
Mhm.
Um, and a few other people, but I've read here and there. But like even if it is just about personal liberation and sovereignty, two very good things, in my opinion. And say let's say that that's what it's officially about in one current or another. That's cool. But if you think that that somehow means there aren't people that do think that they should be sacrificing like
Mm.
humans to say like you're an idiot if you think that people aren't going to misread that.
Yeah.
And that's kind of going back to like the Michael Aquinos and the Nick Lands of the world, whether they're serious or not, whether they're just being like uh, vaguely edgelord incel like bored gifted school students. I think the problem is with that kind of like just running amok, having fun, and oh, I'm never serious. It's always irony, or maybe it's not, or whatever. Some people are gonna take you fucking seriously,
Mm.
Mhm.
and like some of those people, what if they're what if they're richer than God? What if they really take the shit that you put out there as a troll, and like you've just become responsible for the world becoming a little bit sicker? Like yeah, it's a slippery slope to me to be putting oneself out into the world in a disingenuous way. Period. I think
Mm.
that's a really I hope people are growing out of that collectively in the occult world because I just think it's fucking dumb. I
Same.
think there's so much you could be doing sincerely
Yep.
and make a real difference. And maybe that's it. Maybe those people don't have real sincerity in them, and that's why there's always this sort of LARP. But I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, going last podcast on the left. I used to really enjoy those guys, and
Same.
I still find them funny, but they are very like it's always like they always take the like the most oh, it's everything is like normal and materialistic
Yep.
explanation
Yep.
for anything.
Yep.
Yeah, it's kind of it does get a little it gets very old.
Yeah, that's the exact sort of there's almost certainly episodes I'm sure I could go back to and I'd still enjoy, but the reason I don't really listen to it regularly, well, actually, I think one of the hosts, I think he might have got like Me Too'd
He
and
did, yeah.
left. Yeah, I think I'd already started. I wasn't really listening regularly by that point, but I'm pretty. I can remember that happening. I think I listened to a few with a new guy, and it was all right. But there's kind of what you said there. There is a kind of weird considering the podcast and how it started and the whole sort of creative remit of the podcast is sort of curiosity and being wide-eyed and open-minded. There
Yeah.
is you're so right. There is a real lack of curiosity about like
In
anything spiritual.
anything. Yeah, yeah,
I
it's all and it's really weird because one of the guys Henry
Henry.
actually said that he used a sigil, he used sigil magic and it
Yep.
worked and it got him a job. But
Yep. I remember
yeah,
that. Yep.
but it's all fake. It's all psychology or whatever,
Mm.
like it's eh,
Chaos magic. It was chaos magic, wasn't it?
yeah, yeah, it
Aye.
was.
Aye, I can remember. I can remember because that was I'd never really heard kind of what you just said there, Kurt. It was the first time I'd ever heard Satanism presented as kind of edgy, aestheticized atheism or whatever. Was last podcast on the left. I'd never heard anybody present it that way, but maybe that's more common than I thought.
I think it's the modern iteration of it.
Mm,
I think it's the LaVeyan iteration of it.
Yeah,
aye.
but what's weird is I don't think Levan himself was. I don't think he was entirely LARPing.
No, I don't think so either. But
Yeah,
I don't know.
I think he was just. I know how this sounds, right? And it's coming from a fucking 34-year-old Scottish guy, right? He was a goofy ass when with no swag. Is what it feels like with Livy. Do you know what I mean? He was just
yeah.
a kind of he was like pudding in the shape of a man.
Oh,
Uh, I
I
mean, he
do.
was a carny.
Oh, good point. That's true.
Yeah,
That is true.
that's
Yep.
that he was a carny as well. So
Maybe that's partly what I find repellent about the kind of Levian branch of Satanism is the sort of it feels a bit WWE
Yeah, I was
yeah,
gonna say Hot Topic, but like, yeah,
hot topic. Yeah.
it does, and that's actually why I'm like more okay with that brand because it seems to be more of a philosophy. There might be actual spirit work in there, but like my that's not been my impression.
Hmm.
mm,
Um,
No, I think I
and it
agree with that.
and I'm not so much worried about the people with black candles and eyeliner and such. I think that I do think a lot of so I know for a fact that a lot of like emotional, psychological, and even like spiritual kind of abuse and coercion at least happens in even casual occult groups, but especially in um your like systematized like ranked occult orders where you have to
Mm.
plead such and such and suck up to so and not offend so and so to be liked enough to get enough attention to move up the ranks and whatever. I think all of that. That's like just this perfect breeding ground for control mechanisms, social sort of manipulation, and even using magic to increase the potency of those kinds of controls. And I think it's good to be suspicious of those things in any kind of group, but I think especially in any occult group, whether it's your like 5D white linen, new age, we're just talking about crystals and angels, like all the way to your full on Satanism. Like all of it is going to have some people who want to manipulate you, some people who are really cool. I think that's just true across the board. I do think that the things that are like maybe darker attract people that are, I don't know, but then again, you go somewhere squeaky clean looking, and who's gonna suspect that? That's like a better cover if you're actually a monster.
Hmm.
Um, but no, I guess monsters abound is what I'm saying. Um,
And speaking, I mean, this is just neither here nor there, but just he's kind of in the air right now, especially in this conversation. I rewatched because we had spoke about it a few weeks ago. I found my DVD of and rewatched the Bruce Dickinson penned Aleister Crowley horror film, The Chemical Wedding,
uh,
and it's about Aleister Crowley being reborn through a VR video game. He possesses somebody in the modern day through VR. Um, it's really batshit. It's really weird, right? I cannot lie and say it's a good film, but it was extremely entertaining.
Uh,
Um,
it
it
sounds very entertaining.
I had a budget of like £6, like really like crazy like micro budget. The acting is like porn level. They have a good guy playing Crowley, Simon Callow. He's a good actor. He's been in like Merchant and Ivory films and shit. He's like a classic English thesp. But everybody else, it's like it probably was just people off the street. It's like pure porn level fucking line delivery. Makes you feel like you could be an actor, like that kind of acting. It's and it feels. I had this idea when I brought it up to you guys that I think this. I remember this film because I hadn't seen it in like 11, 12 years or something. I was thinking to myself, I think this film felt like somebody who only knew Aleister Crowley from like the most like forward facing of his like sayings, like do what the will should be the whole of the law and all that. And I was like, I'll be interested to see if that impression holds. Yeah, it literally feels like somebody skimmed Wikipedia
yeah.
and that was it. Like it's almost kind of impressive how much they didn't really interface with Crowley as an actual figure.
Like it
Um,
would have been a better film. It would have been a better film and story altogether if they'd just made up some fictional occultist
I think so. Yep.
and just like had like this, embedded in the movie that this guy was part of history and everyone knew who he was and stuff. And it would be obvious that he was like an allegory for Crowley, but it would work better because it wouldn't cause any cognitive dissonance to those who
Mhm.
knew.
He like ostentatiously and portentously quotes Macbeth and he's possessed a university lecturer and he's quoting Macbeth and he pulls out his dick and pisses on all the students
Okay.
and then it cuts
Are
to
you
the
sure
next.
it's the reincarnation of Gigi Allen?
Yes.
It's, that actually probably Mel yep it really did not. It's frustrating because I actually think he could have been a good if that was like a straight Aleister Crowley film. I do think Simon Callow would have been good in that role. Actually, he looks like him as well, but it cuts from the pissing on people with his reborn dick scene, and the students are all going, "That was mad. That was crazy," and it's like he just pissed on everybody. What do you mean that's crazy? He would have been fired immediately. You know what I mean? So it's also so it's one of those kind of scripts as well. You know what I mean? It ostensibly takes place in our world, but absolutely does not. Um,
The only way that it would have made sense for someone in a university setting to piss all over some students and then just get away with it is if it was Jeffrey Epstein.
or James Franco, allegedly.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I think it's just a requirement if you're gonna be this kind of like tier of actor, if you're gonna get like a paid over this amount for each film you do, we got to get video of you doing something really bad.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
have to have some kind of horrible, horrible skeleton in the closet, or you're not even allowed in.
Well, there was an era where you could have said you were a performance art instructor, and then you could just claim that that was perform. There was a time when that was a thing.
That's true.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Remember Piss Christ?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah. That feels kind of that almost
Tame.
feels wholesome
Yeah.
looking back on it.
I don't know if Piss Christ was.
It was a photographer. I can't remember his name. It was a photo he took, and I guess I think it was in an exhibit during Giuliani's era in New York, possibly. And I don't know, maybe somehow it had been acquired through like a city or state grant, maybe, and that was part of the controversy. I can't remember. I can't remember the details in it out of it, but it is very uh you're right. It's very wholesome. Oh, oh my God, you just brought up an insane memory. My 20th century art uh instructor when I was going to SCAD, what was his name? I can't remember his name. He was amazing though. Everybody like everybody goes in wanting to hate 20th century art, and then you would leave his class and be like, no, it's awesome. Like he's just that good at it. But he did this thing where he he what's his Maplethorpe. I don't know if you're familiar with Robert Mapplethorpe. Uh he's a famous photographer. Was there was a book with uh what's the uh P- Patty Smith. I think Patty Smith wrote a memoir that was about her time in
Oh,
friendship
yep.
with him, I think.
Yep.
Yeah, and so he was famous for doing these photos of like gay S&M, and then he contracted AIDS, and then he did all these like really just simple beautiful like flower pictures at the end of his life. But he got known for like his photos of these crazy gay S&M things, and the instructor during the class is talking about him, and he just puts up a picture of a guy shoving a whip up his ass and just leaves it on that slide while he lectures for like 20 minutes.
Oh, that must have been intentional. We're going to contemplate this.
Yeah,
We're
that's
going to bear witness.
we're gonna sit with this image while we discuss.
And would that happen today?
Mm, nope.
He would
No.
be
No.
he would be fired and maybe in jail, maybe sued.
Mhm. I think I mentioned this to you guys before. When I was in high school, I think I was 13 or 14, we were made to read To Kill a Mockingbird,
Mm.
and we would be assigned sort of dialogue. Somebody would have to do the narration, and
Oh
different people would
no.
have to do the dialogue.
Oh
And my
no.
teacher was like an old hippie lady, and her whole thing was, and now to be clear, the class was like 95% white, and there was maybe two or three like sort of Pakistani kids or whatever. Um, and she was like really dead set about no, you cannot censor the word. You've got to say it. It's important that we recognise, and just kind of what you were saying there about that guy, and his teaching capacity, it would never fly today. And she made us all say it, and she would
Oh my God. Man.
people would like laugh and stuff, and she would be like, "It's fine to." She'd be like, "It's fine to laugh. It's a word. It's a word that's it's got so much taboo and stuff. I understand why you're laughing. You're feeling nervous." She's like, "But you should interface with." even just censoring the word from the page is like not engaging with the history that informed it and stuff. It was actually it's
Yeah.
it's maybe a bit of a naive viewpoint, but it's kind of refreshing to be
Yeah.
honest to remember.
I,
Um,
I kind of agree. Like,
I
Yeah.
I think that, oh man, like when you ignore that, like if you're reading Huckleberry Finn, right, and
Yeah. That's the one I thought
yeah,
of.
you leave out the N word, like then people reading that now will just think that everything was always like it is
yep,
now. There's
Yeah.
no tension, there's no questions following it, there's no conversation about like, whoa, wow, I guess we have made some progress. That's like it shows that something has changed. Things might not be
Mm.
the way they should be, but I think that shows some kind of progress. That we're not running around saying the same words in the same casual manner as just like there's a different weight to them now. And I think that's a little bit more appropriate, at least.
I
What
agree.
what I it's been a long time since I read it, but if I remember correctly, that character is like he's a sympathetic character in the story, right?
Jim.
Yeah, I
Yeah, I mean
believe so.
he's like the beating heart of the book.
Yeah, so like there's also something to realize like what is someone who's like actually thinks that the larger culture is wrong, like what does that look like in the midst of that culture
Mhm.
too?
Hmm.
Like, there's yeah. It's it's the dumbest times. It's the
It was
dumbest of times, and it was the dumbest of times.
it was the worst of times.
It was the worst of times and the
It
most
was
moronic.
it was the worst of times. It was the worst of times.
I think the modern would be it was the fakest of times, it was the gayest of times.
Yeah. Yes. Yes, it would be.
Like kind of
Yeah.
objectively true. Yeah.
Mhm.
Just
Yeah, yeah,
quantify, just
fuck
count,
right.
and yeah, just
Okay,
math.
yes.
And
Ugh.
when I think this was maybe episode 2 or 3 of the prisoner coverage. The, I think I mentioned to you guys I'd been going through Pedro Almodovar's filmography like chronologically. Old gay art was it's like night and day compared to uh current gay creatives. The sense of like fun and transgression and you could not have somebody like Almodovar has like three different films that have like comedic rape scenes. Do you know what I mean? Like that would just never fly these days. I'd certainly not by a gay director.
Oh,
Oh,
I
yeah.
watched Matador based on your recommendation.
Did you enjoy it?
Oh, yeah, and the rape scene in that is like it's like pathetic.
Yep. It's
It's
actually
like
funny.
yeah, it's like what the fuck?
He like he fails.
Yes.
It's like an attempt at a rape scene that doesn't quite get there. Um, and you just cannot imagine a director
No.
doing that these days. And we are allowed to laugh at that. He encourages us to find the humor in that moment. Just crazy. He's got if I don't know if you've ever seen Kika. That's probably my favorite Almodovar film. Um, that one has. I don't even want to really say too much about it, right? But it's really worth watching. It's a beautiful, funny. It's like all the adjectives. It's one of those films. It encompasses so much, but it has a rape scene in it, and it's. I cannot believe I'm going to say this right. You need to watch the film to understand. It's a laugh riot. It is so funny, dude. And I know how that sounds, but if you ever watch that film, you'll know what I mean. I'm not just being callous or edgy. It's one of the funniest comedic set pieces I've ever seen, and it's mid sexual assault.
Jesus Christ, that's amazing.
And he really Almodovar really embodied that punk fuck you thing that homosexuality in the arts used to have. You know, that
Yeah.
countercultural sort of spirit.
Yeah.
Yes. Very much so. Yeah,
Well,
it used to always like I feel like gay culture was always the edgy shit that was
Hmm.
like on the fringes. And I
Yep.
feel like the rest of the culture was always like it would get out in front and then the rest of the culture would like collect stardust from it and like put
Yep.
that stardust on their own shit and be like, oh, mine
Yep.
it's better now. It's at least a little better now.
that's the glitter. It's like anybody that wears glitter, it's just gonna
I
it
almost
just
feel like I
gets you.
almost
You're gonna have
but
to
it's
if you have someone that wears glitter in your house, you're just gonna have to burn your house down if you want to get rid of the glitter.
yeah.
That's
So
just how
true.
Yeah.
that.
I think it's only cleansable by fire. The yeah, I forgot what I was gonna say.
I'm sorry.
It was, no, it was fine.
I got enamored by your whole sprinkle of stardust analogy.
Oh, I think the glitter is just like the closest physical thing that exists to actually match the magic.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like the
Yeah.
the gay magic. It's like glitter actually looks like the metaphysical whatever that is. And so they get paired. I don't think it's like, yeah, there's something really going on there. Like powerhouse of culture, the gay community has always been. Until it
Like
and, until it got too mainstream.
Todd Haynes, as a director, somehow convinced, immediately post Trainspotting Ewan McGregor, Haiti's power, Haiti's beauty, Haiti's international stardom to show his entire dick and entire butthole in a film. Like that's just it's insane to think about. He gets his whole genitals out and his whole hole out. It's just insane.
In that was in Trainspotting?
No, in a Velvet Goldmine.
Oh, right after
Aye.
Trainspotting. Yeah.
And like the camera loves his butthole, dude. He really sits there on the butthole. You know what I mean? He like you can tell a gay dude was behind the camera that day.
Who else is in that?
The
That's
s- the star
Uh,
of the show.
jo- uh, what's his name again? Oh well, Christian Bale's in it.
Hmm.
There's this guy. He was really big back then. What was his fucking name? The main guy in it. Jonathan Rhys Miles.
Yeah, wait, was he
Yep,
the guy was he the guy that was also in Gormenghast?
yep, that's him.
Yeah.
He was
Okay,
also
yeah.
in Match Point, the Woody Allen
Yeah.
film.
Yeah, he's one of those guys that's like so pretty he must be evil. He's like one
Oh,
of those
yep,
guys.
yep.
Right.
He looks like a tulpa or something, like a thought form. He is like celestially, angelically attractive.
Yes.
And you look at him now, and you're like, fuck, he hasn't aged either. I really, you can totally see why somebody like Todd Haynes would cast him as the sort of like the pinnacle of like otherworldly, painful male beauty
Yeah.
because he really he looks like he should not exist.
Yeah, he's got like some sort of like elfish
Hmm.
like yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, that guy never I don't feel like he became huge ever. I think there's a thing with like men if they're like too not handsome but like too beautiful.
Pretty. Yep,
It is like you have to be a villain. Like no
yep.
one. Yeah.
I think I totally know what you mean. I think he was one of those guys that was for years he seemed to be about to become huge. I
Mm.
think people always anticipated that he would be like a huge star, and it just kind of never really happened. And I think he also had like a kind of, if I remember right, I don't even want to guess how long ago this was. It was probably an embarrassing amount of years ago. He had like a racist thing. He went on like a public racist tirade, and I think that
Oh,
probably
oh
killed his
no.
career as well. Aye.
Just gonna tie one off with a little racist kick.
I'm going to
It
go full.
turns out he was just reading Huckleberry Finn out loud. And that's just,
I'm just trying to read the classics. All right. Until next time.